Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live, Season 3, Episode 28. And, of course, July's Supremacy Raid Brief. That was a bit of a mouthful. Before we go into it, though, we have the wonderful Robin.
Hello.
I'm going to have to think of a big intro for you, Robin. I'm going to come up with something ready for next week's show.
No, Robin, small one's fine.
And then, of course, we have the man, the myth, the legend that is TSM.
How you doing all?
I think you really hate that, to be honest.
It's a bittersweet pill.
Yeah. So anyway, how are you guys? How's your week of EP going?
Yeah, so far to date, pretty mellow, I think. Dead weekend on BP. You know, the TLC was interesting. I had time to do a stream, not too bad. Nice to have a chilled weekend, actually. Yeah, good.
Did you do all of the TLCs by any chance?
I did, yeah, because there wasn't a huge amount that I needed to do. So I sort of ran through it quite nicely with a bit of a refitted set of Phoenixes, and the other one was of no interest, to be honest. So I altered the other one personally. But yeah, it's okay. The one that gave you the Manticore tokens and obviously the generic ship build tokens, they were nice to have. Unfortunately, you couldn't stack all three, so you had to go and spend one, and then you could stack two. But they were 12-hour ones, so they're nice to have, and I've got them banked now ready for obviously the hole that's coming out in this raid. So content with that. I've got it one day or in the bank already. So
that's good. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good to see Hydra tokens on offer again. I know a lot of players have them built, but they are useful now in the base part targets. So being able for players to catch up or finish their fleets off, I think that was a nice touch from Kicks. But okay, well, I guess we will roll into the slides. I think, Mark, you've got wonderful slides prepared.
Yeah, the Robin slides I just innovated as ever. So let's have a little look.
Thank you, Robin.
Right, if you just share my, that should be about it, I think, to be honest.
Should be locked on to you, buddy. Did I ever tell you about the time when I went to present to everyone on Robin and booted her from the show?
No.
Do you remember that one, Robin?
Reason number 343 why Mark is never allowed to leave again.
I didn't know about that. That's funny.
No, it was a good one. That it was eventful because then Robin couldn't rejoin either, but we got around it.
Yeah. Mana, Muppet. Anyway, moving on. So we'll make a start then. So there we go. Yeah, season 3, episode 28. Okay, then I know the release notes initially said 29, but we went back. It's week 28 of the year, so everything's back in sync now. Super duper. What have we got tonight then for you? On tonight's show, we have, so it's basically straightforward. It's the July raid Supremacy. We're going to talk about that, and then go through the bug fixes and balances, which there are only 3, if I remember rightly. Robin, over to you.
Okay. Well, we have Supremacy. Greta has called for reinforcements as the combined forces of the Forsaken and Scourge have been a greater threat than they anticipated. This is your first chance to earn the new Greta Inferno Dragon. This is the flagship that will empower your Forsaken mission fleet. So this is the flag that we've all been waiting for and talking about to finish up our FM fleets. I'm just kind of confused as to who the chick is on the Supremacy thing if we're getting the Greta's hull.
Well, that's the enemy, I suppose, isn't it? I'm not quite sure whether...
Scourge, but
yeah.
Yep. So new badge, Greta with a gun. That's by earning Greta's Inferno Dragon. You can go ahead and pick that up.
It's a bit interesting. It's a bit cartoonish, isn't it, this time? Do you not think the badge? Anyway, not to worry. Right, okay.
Greta holding a gun. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but it looks like she's in sort of a Johnny Age 5 cartoon. Not her normal pose and stature. And bearing, should I say, so.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so starts Thursday, July the 12th, which is 2 days from now. So that's 2 days that you've got to earn uranium, as well as any base parts, stock up on those things, roll crews, and all that other good fun stuff. Starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, and then it ends on Monday, July the 16th in Alpha World at 9 a.m. Pacific. Basically, through each of the worlds, delayed by an hour. Following is disabled at the start of the event. That, of course, is relocator, relocation, sector threat, base parts, and your friends list is limited for those that have friends. They also disable the daily campaigns, and so, but you still can go ahead and use the expeditions to go ahead and get base parts and well as uranium. So if you set one off kind of like the day before, so it'll finish part the way through, then you can send another one off while the raid is on.
Nice and fortunate. Yeah, not too bad. If you're into expeditions. Okay.
Yep, and they've made some changes this time around. We've got new target information. You can now actually see the recommended fleets, the points drops, and the set value for the targets. And you could also find the nearest undamaged target. So I kind of actually like this because now people know exactly what fleet they should be using to hit. You don't have to go locator, find this, or turn on the little yellow pumpkins or orange pumpkins. So you can just go ahead and click the arrow and it'll take you to the nearest one.
Yeah, so that's my question. Where it says locate, that means it takes you directly onto the world map and to the target, not just to the locator.
Yes, as far as I know, it takes you to the nearest target.
Oh, that's just going to make life so much easier. I
Yep.
like that one. That's a good ad. Yeah, we like that.
Goals, reinforcements, of course. Oh, it's got reinforcements in there. My bad. Supremacy is the third event in the Draconian Conquest event cycle. So this is number 3. The next one is the tech store raid. Defeat the Draconian mega convoys to earn points which allow you to redeem prizes. As per normal, there's no changes, it looks like, to these. We have the prototype Kodiak and the prototype Interceptor. Again, remember, prototype weapons can't be countered by countermeasures.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's a bit annoying, but unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. So yeah, I mean, we've sort of scanned over these couple of ships recently and that sort of stuff. The most interesting thing for those with scatters, I think most of the interceptor stuff is not as challenging as it could be, and it's really, really good that you can splash out most of those ships in collective groups. The Cody, on the other hand, there's no chance of outstripping it and outgunning it. So really, it has a much further fire range than what you've got, and you just basically got to go in and splat them as fast as you possibly can. I tend to let the ship come to me, let the interceptors back up in behind of it, and 1 or 2 volleys on the Cody, and all the interceptors in behind also get killed out at the same time, so they don't get a chance to shoot anything off. And that's how I've managed to get rid of as many ships as I can in the shortest amount possible, and obviously take the least amount of damage. So that's just like a TSM tip, really. But not that I was going to do one, but hey, it works.
And then we've got the Draconian ammo carrier. These are the ones that have the big rings around them. You want to try and attack those from a distance so that you're not taking extra damage, and these affect the other ships that are around them. So you don't want to be in a situation where you wake up multiple groups of ships, and so that you've got these plus all the other ships chasing after you. When the prototypes run out of ammunition, they're reloaded by this Draconian ammo carrier. So there's always been remarks made by Kix that you should go ahead and kill this first. Some people say that they don't see any difference to it, others do. For me, it's kind of like 50-50, but I'm not going to break my neck trying to catch these first.
No, just take a couple more salvos while you're trying to kill this thing. If it's a thing I pick off, it's a thing I pick up. If not, I don't bother. I get rid of those the fatties, as you've put them there. It makes me smile. Trademark route.
Yep.
Get rid of the fatties first, because they're annoying if you just happen to stumble across them while you're still trying to do something else. So
yeah.
And they can be counted, which is great.
Yes. Speaking of fatties, one thing that I did notice, if you are prepping for people, people would leave the ammo carrier and not the Drac turret carrier because those were originally regenerating. I noticed last raid, I don't know if it's going to be the same this raid, but I noticed last raid that they weren't regenerating. And so the Drac ammo carriers actually do have a longer range weapon on them. And so for prepping targets for mid-levels, if you're helping some folks with the points, if you can kill off all of the weapons off of the turret carrier, you could leave that with the health bar just for the turret carrier, and then they could go in there and kill that at their leisure.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do, especially if they've got the missile ship, or any old missile ship then, to be honest. It doesn't even have to be a decent ship. Manticore, well, it does for this. You've got to have a Manticore, but it doesn't have to be fully built. We were letting one of our guys go in and just had one hull, no weapons on it apart from one missile, no engine, no nothing at all. And he just let it go in by auto and was just killing that one ship off and just just kept targeting it, and then by the time we put the next one, he was ready to go again. So
yeah, and that's where if the Manti doesn't have all of the specials on it, that's where that longer range ammo carrier weapon becomes a problem.
yeah,
Because they outrange your scatters, and a basic built Manti just can't survive underneath those. So
yeah.
if you can strip the fatties, leave the fatties for folks with Mantis, and use those for prepping.
Yeah, they're good. Crews. What crews are we going to recommend on your ships? I mean, there are a few, obviously, you know, apart from Grease Monkeys and all those sort of demos and the really expensive ones. But I found personally some speed up crews just so you can get to the holes really, really fast. And you know,
Yep.
that one it's like 3 coins to replace it. If it runs out, it gives you like 18 seconds or 20 seconds of double combat speed. That thing's amazing because obviously if you're using a blitz crew and using scatters, then you can slap through a lot of the ships really, really fast. And because you're going double the speed, most of the stuff actually lands behind you, so it's quite helpful.
My top tip, what I've done for the last few raids in this cycle: Grease Monkeys and just autopilot.
Yeah, and for those,
Don't listen to that man.
yeah, for those that don't know, because of the functionality of the way that the Darkwing works, where it keeps all of the ships to a the same speed. In the past, where you have 5 ships and let's say your flag takes damage, it would always charge out in front because that's the way that the Grease Monkey worked, where if you took damage, your ship sped up. Grease Monkeys don't do that with the Dark, or at least they didn't last raid.
No, they don't.
With
No.
the Darkwing, and so you don't have to put like your Grease Monkey in your dock and then use a different crew while you're running. You can just go ahead and be lazy like Liam and throw on your Grease Monkey and just go ahead and auto that way. So that crew worked really well last raid, and I'm hoping that it'll do the same this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing I was going to say about the Grease Monkey crew is, you know, because you've got to charge around on the open sea to go and find these, you know, these S targets. Although it's, you know, because there's no benefit for fixing the flagship first, because it's not like, you know, it is with Hydras where it takes less damage and it's cheaper to fix. The multiplier is the same across the whole fleet. So there's no benefit from going, oh, look, I've got 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'll go back and I'll strip the fleet down. That's a waste of time. You're just using up your Grease Monkey crew sitting in your dock doing nothing. You may as well slap it on. As Rue said, because of the way that the CICs work, the fleet remains stacked. So you may as well just go, you know, all the way out there, virtually kill the whole fleet off and just go, right, that's it. I can't really do any more without a ship dying. Then go back, click the fix button straight away. And if you're down to your last 30 seconds or something, or a minute on your Grease Monkey, literally just put the fleet back in the dock, press fix, and you'll get half fix time for the duration. Even if the Grease Monkey's gone out, it won't matter at all. Other things as well, crews. Have you noticed? I don't know if you have noticed, but if you're using steelheads and that sort of stuff, so long as you don't dock, doesn't matter if the steelhead crew has run out or not, it'll still work in its combat mode. Okay, so all crews work like that, apart from ones that do things like fix on the open sea, like the Grease Monkey does. So the Grease Monkey, the effect inside will still work, but the actual repair on the outside of the area won't work at all. But things like steelheads and all those sort of things, they work. They continue to work.
Yep. And another one, believe it or not, is speed crews. You know, if you do run out of the nice shiny yellow ones, Remote Raiders gives that 30% boost, especially if you're running scatters, which are a wee bit slower, depending on how they're built. There's also Silent Hunters, which gives that speed boost, which will help as well from running away from some of these ships, and especially for the lower targets. So if you're using Skyfires or a combination of Skyfires and Phoenixes, Apollos and things like that, don't be afraid to use some of the crews on the lower targets. If it saves you a couple of hours, or you can get, an extra 2 sets in, then it's well worth trying to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay.
Okay, first tier, of course, is the elite tier, which is tier 8. These are very difficult targets with high payouts of points. There are 4 targets that are available on the map. We've got the 106, which is new. Payouts on this is 2.5 mil. This drops 1 shard for the Missile Defense System 3. We've got the 104 also paying out 2.5, drops 1 shard for the Hyper 30 installation. And then we've got the set completion bonus of 5 million. So 10 million per set, which I think is pretty good. And then we've got the 100, which is 2.5 mil, and then the 102, which is 2.5 mil. And those drop the shards for the chromium armor and the reactive armor. And of course, those do not have the set completion bonus. And so for the higher targets, you kind of have to have the Manticore. They are restricted, so you can't, take the Katie's in there or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I worked out roughly, looking through the points chart required. If you wanted to get everything and you didn't have anything, it's about 35 8 sets as an interesting point.
I find it a little annoying that, like, if you're looking to get more of the chromium armor or the reactive armor, you're gonna have to go drop back and hit for lower points. You know what I mean? It's a bit annoying if you are a player looking for those specials, but
yeah, costings aren't fantastic at the moment, but yeah, so basically the set is 10 million. It's been 8 before and that sort of stuff, but obviously, it's about the as I said previously, it's about how much damage you're taking. So what is the coin count to go and get the blueprint? It's not necessarily how many sets it is, although that is seed time. But it's how many, and it's down to the individual. It's down to your build. Only you as an individual can work out roughly how you feel it's cost effective to go and get that hole. And I'd be interested to see some stats on that. And that's what we're doing the weekend. I'm asking some people to say, right, well, it's cost me 3 coins to get one A set or something like that, or 4 coins to get an S set, or 8 coins or whatever it is, and then did you blitz it or did you use missiles and that sort of stuff. So just to start getting a good baseline. And if you're using grease monkeys, clearly, and it's on target, then you're using half the time to fix them. So should be hopefully on par to get it at quite a reasonable rate.
Yep.
Right.
And don't forget that I've not tested this. I've heard it from many people, though. If you are doing things on auto, rumor has it that if you use the companion app, it seems to be less damage.
And I actually did the whole of last raid on the companion app. So I wouldn't actually have a comparison, but I did do the whole one during work, like every now and again, just clicking, and it made it really, really stress free. But I didn't know it was less repair.
I have to say, my brother did the same thing. He did the whole thing. Nobby did the same thing. Everything was on the companion app because he was at work as well.
Yeah, and I must say, I really enjoy that companion app for that reason. Obviously, if you're working 7 days a week, and you can't get on, I mean, it's easy just to whip the phone out, go and grab some Forsaken missions or whatnot. I mean, it makes the game a lot easier to play, I think.
What is this work you speak of?
I know. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so give that a go. Obviously, of course, if you're running the companion app, you can't do things like select crews and that kind of stuff. But you can log on to the game, select the crew, send it out on the map, and then jump on the app and then take it from there. But just another option that's out there. Next tier that we've got is tier 7, which is the old A sets, which was the 80s levels. We've got 83 for 500k, the 85 for 600k, the 87 for 700k, and then 1.5 million set bonus. These ones recommended Manticore fleets at least rank 12, and then restrictions, it has to be an assault fleet or a generalist of at least tier 7, but they are still allowing the Katie's for this set of toga. So there'll be lots of people that'll still be happy for this.
Yeah, that'll please a lot of people. It's interesting. I just look at one of the conversations there in the sideline chat. Obviously, Alliance is prepping for their lower levels and that sort of stuff. If you call that Leon there, and then people on the BP are going, "Oh yeah, next target," and they go and steal one of the targets that's been prepped.
Yeah, can I just?
They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know, would they? They honestly wouldn't have a clue.
If I did that, Senna, to anyone last raid, please, I do apologize because I generally did do that. I imagine people messaging on constant. Liam, what the hell are you doing?
And then you're just basically not only stealing their targets, but you're also not talking in the chat either on the whatever sector you're in. So you're doubly annoying.
It's all lies. He's on there just not talking on chat, looking for targets to nick.
Yeah, he just
now I have a foolproof cover story.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, that's quite good actually. Yeah, right. Okay, so there we go. That's tier 7 stuff. Next.
Okay. Next one down, we've got, of course, is tier 6, which is the 60s. So this is where you first start taking hit down multipliers based on your base level. For this one, they recommend legendary rank Skyfire fleets or Phoenix fleets. While not required, a flagship will improve your experience. There are some videos that are on the page with some very creative people. Luke did one, and then there were a couple of others that were done for the last couple of raids where, if someone doesn't have a full fleet of Manticores, they were actually throwing in the Gutspill Skyfire and running those with the Manties in these targets, and we're able to eat these up for good points. So if you don't have a full fleet of Manties, don't be afraid to throw your gut spells in with them. And then we've got tier 5, which of course is the 41s. This one has a 30k payout as well as the completion bonus of 20. Recommended legendary ranked Apollos, and then restrictions. Of course, this one also has the hit down multipliers. So if you're a high level base, then you're not going to get the advertised price for points.
I honestly think that, and Jess just said it in chat then, hit down multiplier based on base level is irrelevant. Hit down multiplier based on tier of ship, I understand. I don't think there should be any requirement to do a hit down multiplier just because you happen to have a high number of base. You know, doesn't necessarily mean you've got a good fleet. You could be playing the game for a long time and now don't have a ship. You've just got rubbish, basically. You're a returning player, you know, because you've been out for 4 or 5 months, and all of a sudden then you don't have the right tools for the job, and you're also getting penalised now because you're a high-level player but don't have the right tier of ships to go and do the high-level stuff.
Yeah, I've never really understood the hit down multipliers. Like, I mean, is it because they think that like bigger, more capable players will be lazy and just auto lower ends? Is that maybe it? I'm not.
Well,
But
yeah,
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. Lock it to the tier 7. So if they're already saying you've got to have a tier 7, as in the Manticore, to go into the S targets, then the reverse should be the same. If you go into this target with a Manticore, you're only going to get a dribble feed from it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, remember in the FM where everybody, rather than going out and hitting the bigger targets, they would go out and auto the 27s with 16 fleets of Seawolves. And so the point behind the hit down multiplier was to incent higher level players not to be hitting the lower level targets that the lower to mid levels really need to hit.
But you do see it quite often where like players, like Mark was saying there, like players stop playing for 6 months, a year, come back to even level 100s, come back to the game and don't even have so much as an FM fleet, let alone a raid fleet.
Yeah, those are the ones that really get penalised by it.
Yeah, frustrating. What's something to pass up, maybe, Robin? Right.
Yep. We've got the blitz targets, of course. We've got the 89, which pays out the 800k. You want to use your Manticores in this one. Minimum of 5 gold for blitzing, and then level 69s. Looking for legendary ranked Skyfire fleets or Phoenix fleets. My understanding is the Skyfires worked better in this than the Phoenixes did. Points payout was 125k, and the blitz minimum of 1k gold.
I used to like it when they made that mistake that one time, and the blitz of the 89 was 1 coin, and I just did 1 target, and then I finished my raid in like 30 seconds, so I just kept hitting the blitz times 10. And I was like, that 80 coin finished, thank you very much. And what should I do for the rest of the weekend?
Well, and that's
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, and that's something else that, if you can get like 3.5 targets out of your Manticore fleet, but you've still got some health left off and you're getting ready to log off for the night, go out and hit a couple of the 89s and just take the 800k points until your fleet's almost completely dead, and then go ahead and park it, for the night for repair.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Right, move on.
Yep. Okay. As per normal, we can track it in the completion progress in the event modal. Of course, we've got the new one this time around. Defeating a target will mark the completion in the modal. You can go ahead and once the set is complete, you can go ahead and stack these. It will keep track of it. Once the set's complete, it will go ahead and clear it, reset, and award the bonus for the sets. Hitting targets that are below your recommended level will result in fewer points. That's the hit down restrictions. And then use the locator to find targets for all sets or specific sets.
Yeah, I mean, I know, was it the first one or the second one? I think it was the first one when some people had the missile one, they were struggling on one of the targets, so they were stacking up lots of hundreds, wasn't it, I think?
Yes.
And then other people were having to prep the latter ones, but it didn't affect them too much because obviously once everybody else has virtually finished their raid, and it was like Sunday afternoon, then people were helping out other people. They definitely were in our sector anyway. And prepping for them, because you get points. I prepped down to the last ship for quite a few people, and I still managed to amass another 60 or 70 million points. So it's quite surprising.
They've actually done a really good job this cycle of, other than when they wipe some map targets by accident when one of the worlds finished, but other than that, they've done a really good job with the spawn rates on the targets. And you know, I've got a lot of returning players, and there's a lot of lower to mid-level and you know, players moving up in my sector. So of course, there's always 700 million people looking for 41s. The locator, it's not that there's only 2 in your sector. The locator will only show the 2 closest 41s to you. So even if you see those 2, that's not all there is. There are plenty more on the map. The locator just shows those. So if you've got people that are out there hitting those, and you've got a whole bunch of people that are trying to hit those, just tootle over to another sector and look for a lower level base, and you'll find those targets next to them.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good thing to do before the even raid starts. I mean, do it today, do it tomorrow. Is go and bookmark all the bases that you know will spawn those sort of targets. So, you know, it may help things. Right, next one. So this is a pretty standard slide, isn't it, to be honest? Yeah, the resources slide. So as ever, poor payouts, and it's, you know, it's a notional amount of uranium. It really is. What can I say? It's always been pathetic. It continues to be pathetic. It doesn't do what it needs to do. And I think we've complained every month for over a year and a half. But hey ho. Not to worry. Right, let's move on to some prizes then. What do we think about this Greta that's now out? Never had a chance to look at the blueprint yet. Should we just have a look at it? So it's there visually. It's quite nice. Bear in mind, if you did buy that 4th of July skin for your normal dragons, it won't affect this Inferno. So you won't be able to see those nice skins on the sea. You'll just see this black Hulk. That's the Greta Inferno dragon. But it's got some nice statistics, which we'll have a look at. What do you reckon of the stat blocks? Impressive or not? What's your first thing that jumps out of you? Go on, Liam. What are you liking most?
Bonus effect applied to each Inferno Dragon and Greta's Inferno Dragon and Fleet. So look at that.
I like the fact that it's got exactly what the Cody had, and that's the 50% penetrative defense bonus straight away. That's the first thing that jumped out.
The structure and ship deflection helps, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. The effect on building ships, turrets, walls, that's not on all of them, is it? Or is that all on all of the dragon? Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there's some good statistics there. And Robin, you were saying about the repair duration now. It's quite comparable with the standard dragon, because as a flagship, normally it's a lot worse, isn't it?
Yeah, the 2 hours, 2 hours and 55. So that's comparable to the other hulls that are in there, as opposed to it being double or even triple what the other ones are. Flagship effect on this one, you know, there's a couple thoughts behind this, and was talking to someone earlier. You know, if you don't have the Savage Kodiak, then this is great. You know, if you do have the Savage Kodiak, then you don't necessarily have to rush to build this. If you don't want to build it out fully, you can build this like the Savage Kodiak. You know, build it, make it naked, get it ranked, so that if you do need to refit it later, you don't have to, you know, send it out for rank. But I think it was 3 days and 19 hours if you don't have any friends build time for the base hull. So it's not a long build based on what I saw compared to a lot of the other flags that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, like, I didn't bother rebuilding my Savage Kodiak, and I've been running with 4 Infernos since they began. And I imagine some players went along and built a 5th just to have that 5th, you know, that extra firepower. But, you know, I mean, if you're going to get the benefits of the Savage as well as being able to load it out with more firepower, then I imagine it's going to be a good boost, a good increase to what the fleet can do if you are running the 4 ships, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a bittersweet pill. There's a couple of things there that I don't like. Great that it's got the penetrative defenses, 50%, but it's also got a range effect, 120. So you can't just leave it in the corner, because obviously you'll run out of the aura space. I thought it was going to be combat speed, you know, screen wide. It's not. So this thing has to trundle along behind or very close to the other ships. So that's a negative as far as I'm concerned. If you are just going to leave it as a blank ship, tuck it in the corner, you basically don't have a ship, because it's got to follow the rest of the ships, which means you've got to put an engine on it, and then you've got to try and be really clever and try and keep it at the damage range. So the only thing I can think of is to drop off another dragon. Bear in mind, you've already built and ranked it and that sort of stuff, and then replace this with it. So you're going to get the benefit of the Kodiak effect, i.e. the penetrative defenses, but you're also going to get some of the other things like the structure deflection and the other things, ship deflection, that sort of stuff, So it's a bit of sweet pill, really.
I mean, I was kind of hoping for better like countermeasure buffs on the flag. Like you could maybe load it out as a countermeasure ship and shoot down a lot more and stuff, but
But I mean, I wouldn't add a. Yeah, sorry, Robin, go on.
I was going to say, if you go back up to the other page, because it did actually mention, and someone pointed this out to me earlier today, where it says, Greta's Inferno Dragon utilizes upgraded countermeasure mounts to defend other Inferno Dragon hulls. So I guess that's for, the deflection that's in there and the extra penetration. But I thought we would see something that would help countermeasures themselves for the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like it based on.
No.
I mean, anti-mortar range. I mean, the ranges are quite good. I must admit, anti-mortar range 75. It's more the missiles the rockets I'm more bothered about. Rocket ranges, yeah.
Do we have a comparison? Look, what's the natural countermeasure buffs on the standard Inferno?
I don't have that in front of me.
No, there's something we'll have a look at.
I'm not sure if it is. Is it a benefit or is it the same? Is it higher or is it?
Have a little look for it. See what you think there, Liam. While we talk about it. Yeah. I mean, the only thing is you put this in as a 5th ship and you run it with the others. Just because you're taking rocket damage and lots of splash damage, you're gonna and then up actually your repair time overall. So the only reason I can see this is, you're running 4 ships instead of 5, but you're leaving out the Kodiak, but you're also leaving out one of your Gretas. But then again, you probably aren't going to do the new targets. We know as soon as this raid's finished, we've got 3 new targets coming out. One is obviously a blitz target, but then from the 117 it goes up. There's another level, and then another level again. And I've got a funny feeling that you're going to need a full set of 5 if you wish to go to those very, very top level targets. I can't see any other way of them allowing older hulls into the newest of targets. If they do, fine, but I don't think 4 ships will be enough to get it done in a good way. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know.
So Jeff's just clarified that there are no countermeasure buffs at all on the regular Inferno Dragon.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's carrying benefits.
So we've got some missile range increasements, and we've obviously got some accuracy increasements already. So
yeah,
good.
So I guess if stacking up with specials. Maybe loading this up full of countermeasures with a couple of rockets and then filling out your other 4 fully of rockets and taking off countermeasures. Maybe that would be a good approach with this fleet.
Yeah, it's going to be trial and error, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, there it is. So it's like I said, a bit of sweet pill. There's decisions for each player to make, and I'm sure somebody will have it ready for next week's FM without a doubt, because people always do. What do we got here then? We've got a new launcher. So this is our first tier 7 radioactive turret. That's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are there more coming, or is it a bit like the last one? Because obviously when we had the last month, we had the new mortar turret, but obviously there's nothing else that's come out since. So we've got 2 radioactive turrets. The duplicate aura cap is 8, but these are the only 2 that's available. So far, yes.
I would expect to see more explosive turrets in the upcoming bounty. So you'll probably be drip fed, explosive and radioactive over the next couple of months. But I guess.
I mean, you've got to go sit with a faction now and really start to make a decision on which damage type you particularly want to go for.
Well,
it's getting quite difficult because we've got ballistic and we've got penetrative, and we haven't really got explosive. So we've got the 2 main damage types that are available to us. But if we do start then stacking up on these and getting 8 radioactive and 8 that, we don't have that many turrets. I don't want more turrets to build, so it's it's quite.
But if you look at like say an MSC that tends to run like 2 MC2, 2 MC1, and maybe 1 D6U, you're averaging a radioactive deflection on that of what 120k or something. I mean, depending
on average, yeah,
on the
240 sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the build. So if you look at that damage divided by 8, add in 5 tactical, whatever it is, 2, fire support 2s, you know, and you slowly start.
Duplicate bonus of 2 because there's 2 of them. Yeah,
and you slowly start working the stats. You know, putting the specials on it. You're going to be getting the damage high enough to get past deflection values. So people are going to have to start just by putting a couple of these in your base. You're forcing the attacker to have to come in with Ifrits or impact cruisers. You know, running the siege cannon to buff radioactive. So you're already minimizing what can hit your base just by putting 2 of these in there anyway. So, I mean, it is going to have an instant effect on PvP, as far as I'm concerned. What's the range? Range 105. Yeah, so you're going to need to kind of put it up front-ish. You guys gone quiet?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stat blocks, mate. It's
shockwave damage. Phew, hang on, shockwave damage 900k. Well, that goes past everything but the Ifrit.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look at the. We'll go forward and look at the. It should be. Here. Oh no, it's not. It comes in a second. The slide's out of sync at the moment. So yeah, this is a new level 3 of the missile defense system. So this is more than comparable in some areas with Phalanx 4, and not quite as much in some other areas.
And less chubby.
And less chubby. That's the key takeaway. Penetrative defense is 15%. I like that a lot. Bear in mind, this thing's rankable. Look, it's rank 15 written on it as well. So it isn't as chubby. Range, I'm not too worried about the range because we can mess around with the range and that sort of stuff. You know, reload time is quite decent. Salvo of 10. You know, yeah, it's quite reasonable, I think, to be honest. The problem is obviously you don't get that many of the darn things, do you?
Yeah, I'm wondering, you know, how this is because they've obviously got multiple levels of it and of the other special that have come out, and we're going to see these new targets come out of the FM. I'm wondering how much of a role these are going to play.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've utilized a couple of the level 2s just to play them and see what they're like, but I've not really, you know. I'll do a side-by-side comparison, I think, over the weekend and have a little look at these 2 things here. The point is, you aren't going to be able to get that many of them unless you're going for crazy points and there's nothing to collect. I mean, I don't know. I suppose 35 is. I mean, max you can get is 5 anyway, so you just got to be a bit cautious of where you put them. But yeah, it's early days. They're clearly pushing new countermeasures for a set reason. Slightly different method to when the Gales came out, you know, which was limited as well. Now it's all about picking up little fragments of shards and then until you get 5 and then you get 1 print and that sort of stuff, which confused a few people last time because you had to look into the shards to find out when you got the full one. Then you had to look into the limited text store to go and find the whole one sort of stuff. So it was a bit messed up, to be honest. But yeah, so the point is, if you stack this with other things like, you know, phalanxes and that sort of stuff, be cautious because, you know, different countermeasures doing the same sort of thing but different ranges, it can mess up your ships a bit. So you've either got to go all or nothing, haven't you, really? But yeah, okay, it's there, and we'll do a full comparison as the week progresses. Yeah, this is the one I was looking at. So this is the isotopes, isn't it? Which is the special to go on the turret. Mm-hmm. You see the damage boost?
See how much power it uses?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, 30%.
Yeah, but see, can you scroll back to that turret, right?
Right. So just clock then. So projectile speed plus 75, accuracy plus 75, and then I mean, so basically this thing is just going to hit, and 75 on that, and then damage plus 50, and or a cap of we've only got 2 of them we can get. So go back to the turret.
One thing I wanted to highlight, see people talking about the range 105, and people saying that it won't fire, but we do have a turret special that buffs range.
The transformer.
So, yeah, the transformer that buffs it by, is it 10% or is it actual 10?
I think it's 10%.
Yeah, so it's and that's going to go to 115.5. So
yeah, it is ATR. Yeah, it's 46.
So it's going to be higher. It's going to be able to hit. And the ATR, while it does also reduce damage, I don't think it matters, because if you ignore the raw damage for a second, even though you're getting a 50% buff and it's divided by 8, just ignore that for a minute and just look at the shockwave damage.
The shockwave damage, yeah.
Yeah, because that will kill anything like stacked. It won't just kill one ship. and it's 900k. So the shockwave damage is enough to wipe everything but an Ifrit as it stands in this game. So think about that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where the special abilities come in. Stack duration launcher, fire field. It drops fire fields 20% chance, duration 4 seconds. Radioactive field minus 1,000 per second. Yeah, there's some. It's those little add-on bits that I like because they chip away at hulls quite nicely, especially when they're sat outside of
Yeah. The radioactive damage at 1,000 a second is massive. Yeah, I mean it does chip away. Even if it drops to bypass only, it's still, you can just take bypass times 4 per ship in the field. It does account for a lot, especially over time.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, right. So yeah. So there you go. So radioactive ice pips. That's great. I like the special badge. I like that. It's quite good picture. That one.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we come to some interesting stuff. These new armors. These are good. I like these. Apart from that, there's more armors and more refits, but the fact is the repair duration is 1 second.
Was it really? Jesus.
1 second, and they're light. They're 125 in tonnage. Corrosive defense is there for this one is 30%, and it's basically a free fix. Who doesn't like these?
That's really good. Yeah, I did not see the repair duration.
So that's the D6 CO. More limited blueprints again. More, I thought we were going away from limited things, but there we go.
Yeah, I got excited, and then I looked at limited.
Up to a point, yeah. Excited up to a point. And then corresponding that one, then obviously there we go. Is the D6M. Another light one, same sort of thing again. Armor points on top of that as well as obviously 30% penetrative defense, and almost a free fix. So. And assault, garrison, and generalist, and draconian tech, but fits on those clo classes. So it's not been that sort of drilled down. We've not been too assault and garrison. No one really builds generalists too much, do they? Apart from zealouses, I suppose.
Well, it gives us more options, I guess. There's definitely some viability to use that straight away, and especially you're going to maybe get a gain and bring your repair right down.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's a dragon thing, isn't it? But yeah.
How many are we limited to, Mark? Is it 5 or?
We'll look at the main screen in a minute on left and rights and what's in the limited store and what's not. We're going to do that in a second. And then the last one, this shielding circuitry thing, which I quite like. I must admit, we've had tack things before, but this one with quite a high. Bear in mind, this is ranked. Okay, so you got to bear that in mind. But the total weight is quite light, 14%. The attack field resistance there, but slow resistance and stun resistance is on par, but it's also got attack field resistance a bit on as well. So
it's kind of like
it's not limited to a specific hull class either.
No.
So for
no, it's not. No.
See those players that run like agility 4 and tactical field on their basers, good option.
Yeah. To
combine 2 and then just switch to a different evade special.
It'll probably negate you being able to put something else on instead because Sod's Law tells you that, but but yeah, until we see what it actually blacks out by adding it, it'd be,
I think I can see some good use for that straight away.
Yeah, right. And then this one's at the end. So this is the one for this isn't for ships. This is for turrets, isn't it? So this is the D5R. And it's basically, are they telling us that there's the next, attacking ship is going to be launcher or something? Or is it because the Ifri, whatever it's called, that no one's building because no one can find a good build yet to attack you? But this is the thing to probably counter, that thing that turned up in Bounty 11.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen how potent the Ifrit with throwers are yet. I've had a couple die on my base, but I've not actually. I didn't watch the playback, but I mean, I'm assuming that the throwers can wreck pretty quickly. I mean, maybe this would benefit putting it on your gates, maybe getting one on your outpost just in case the Ifrits get through,
I've not seen any Ifrit, Ifrit heavy attacks, There's only 3 ships that you can have at the moment anyway. I've not seen them last too long. I've seen a couple in defense, but, people are still on the pages. not really supporting the hull in general terms as yet.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult to balance a build on this hull. The only real viable way to get its deflections right to be able to withstand like the current meta is to have like two of each weapon type on the ship, which then makes it kind of not
ineffective.
Really, yeah, it kind of makes it not really viable then to attack, because you're like, well, what specials do you go with? Do you know what I mean? So it kind of makes it look silly then.
Yeah,
it's kind of not really found its spot yet, I think.
No, I know, I agree with you, to be honest. Yeah, and the last sort of thing we've got at the moment, there's a Manticore sale on, as there always is, because with the third one in, there was last time as well, we got to the third one. So price dropped by 50% for the Manticore blueprint. Collect it now, prepare the hull against. For the next month, we're already telling you, we haven't started yet, but preparing for August, because obviously it's a tech store raid, which when we go look into the full prize list in a minute, you'll think this is it, because there's so many freaking prizes in this one. God knows what they're going to do next month. But yeah, so anyway, reducing the price to go and get the basic blueprint by 50%. Right, let me just flip screens a second and we'll have a look at the main prize list. Right, here we are. So left tier, right tier, I can never see, no, here we go. Let's make sure the statement at the bottom reads correct for a change. You must redeem either the Manticore or the Greta Inferno Dragon to open the lock store. Right, so you must get all the way up to the top and then redeem either of the hulls. So if you've got one, that means you've still got to get the other one. So you can't just go straight into it if you've got it already. Frustrating, but there we go. Yeah, so 40. Wow, yeah. Well, I was wondering how much it was going to cost to get that dragon. 40 million. Whoop-we-do. Blimey.
Hell of a price tag, huh?
There is some price tag before you can get into the lock store.
But bear in mind, most limited holes, you know, or flagships, they tend to come at that price. I've rarely seen, like, normally we see like a standard hole, like a Manticore would come at 20 million, but Makara would be 40. You know, it tends to be that kind of price range.
Oh, yeah, it does. So okay, so most people have already got the Hornets and the Talons, and the carbon fiber casing, the UAVs, and the Phoenixes and Skyfires. Most people have probably got those, probably recycled them, to be honest. And then obviously everyone's probably, if they're going to go into lock store, is going to have to go for to get the Greta, whether they like it or not. And then you think to yourself, well, I may as well freaking build the thing now since I've got it. But
yeah.
Anyway, and then the rest of the stuff above that is, well, if you've already got the the makers on the side there, you've probably got the Stinger and the Strike system. And if you got Greta's, if you got Dragons up and running, then you've probably already got the Twin Fire and the RFX engine anyway. So that gets you then straight into the lock store. So it's a bit of a false at the table the way it's been put together.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that 40 million is a good price for a ship. Like, I never would think that. But I mean, it's just not a surprise, you know. Like, they do tend to put these ships now at these prices, which has been that way for a good year now.
Yeah.
But like you explained there, Mark, I mean, on the plus side, if you are kind of fairly, I don't even think you need to be fairly up to speed. If you're kind of averagely up to speed, then that's probably going to be the only thing on the list that you need to collect as is anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
This one was kind of because, back up a bit. If you remember a long time ago, it used to be where you would get the weapon and the special, and then the hull was at the top. And people were freaking out saying, well, I grind 20 minutes and I've got this lovely weapon and this lovely special and I ain't got diddly squat to put it on. But this is kind of an example of the opposite of that effect. So they've dropped the price on the Manticore hull for people, but yet if they want to get like the Stinger missile or the Strike system, they've got to get 40 million points. And normally, and even on the Dragon side, to get the Twin Fire rocket and the RFX engine, which is kind of critical for the FM, they're locked behind Greta's Inferno Dragon. So I understand the need for tiers, but I wonder if there's a better way to do this so that a player, still has to break that ceiling in order to get to the locked store, but has the ability to choose, okay, if I want to get the hull or if I want to get the specials, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Flipping into the lock store, like I say, it's a big queue of stuff, and we're not going to go through them all. We'll just have a little look at some of them. Yeah, same again. Look, cheetah scatterguns are in there. So are the Predator missiles. 5 million still. There's the armors then, so reduced to 5 of each, at 4 million each a pop. So they, you know, the numbers are going up, aren't they? Shielded circuitry in there at 5. There's a warden in there again for 5.
Oh, nice to see the Howies in
The
there.
Howies 6s are in there. That's nice to see, actually.
For
And the
it,
Nightwatch countermeasure, that's a really good one. Very expensive, but it's a good countermeasure. The best, in fact.
Yeah, and compare those prices to what we were seeing for those in Bounty.
Yeah, it's not so good.
Yeah, but for anyone that's not up to speed on ballistic turrets, T7 turrets, I mean, the Howies is a great catch, better than Blunder 2s. And Siege Missile D55X is a must as well.
Yeah. But it's just the pure quantity. I wasn't really going to make up charts on it because it was going to be a huge chart, but it's the quantity of stuff. You know, there's the launcher in there. Look at 15 million for one. You know, so that's 30 million just for 2 turrets.
You
know,
that was the same price as Jav 2 as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it Jav 2 or whatever?
The special look is 8 million. It just goes up and up. Those cat mortars are back in there again. Look, the catastrophic ones. They're still the same price. Look. And they're rubbish at the moment because we've only got 2. So, you know, yeah, there's I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Look, I mean, okay, we're down to the shards, which no one's really gonna get. KD shards are there. You know, people are still using KDs. The rest of it's pretty junk, to be honest. Manticore. So let's look at the build tokens. That's the key thing, isn't it? So
10 many ones, 10 many ones that are in the lock store.
So
if somebody gets the missiles, you know, you're not going to be able to get the tokens unless you can unlock it.
Where's the Ifrit build tokens? Come on, guys. Got everything in there but the Ifrit.
I don't see any Greta's Dragon build tokens either.
No, that's true.
Not yet. I see Dragon build tokens.
Yeah.
But I don't see any Greta's ones.
I do have impact cruisers.
Impact cruiser ones.
Yeah.
Some prototype seeker ones. Okay, fair enough. There's no
Proto
Centurion ones, which, you know, we'd like to see that by now.
We'd also like to see some generic tokens back.
Nah, no.
I think 4 million points for 24-hour tokens too much.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
Doesn't matter what the whole is.
The thing that gets me with the generic tokens, and it's not being greedy, but if you think about it, where you've got flagships, you know, if you've got 10 Manticore tokens, that's great, but your Manticore tokens don't work on your Mankara's Manticore. So, in the situation, I was talking about this after the last raid. You know, I could get tokens and had plenty of tokens to refit to put the Darkwing on my hulls, but I couldn't do that for the Mankara because that's a, you know, specific type of token. So I actually put the Darkwing on a hull and then took it off later and put it back on the Mankaras when I had FM tokens. So it's kind of annoying.
Manticore's there, 10 million. Look, was that half price? Probably is, isn't it? It was 20. Was it last time? Yeah, so it is there, and in the open store as well, which is actually the scattergun. So the scattergun now is more expensive than the Manticore.
Yeah, well, but if you think about it, if you've got somebody that doesn't have it, that couldn't do it, that's 2 elite sets. Yeah, so,
true.
So 4 targets. So if you've got people in your alliance that don't have it and couldn't do it, you know, that's 4 targets. If you've got the time and the ability and the fleets to do it, that's a quick grab for them.
The thing that's annoying me at the moment is all the build tokens for the hull, and people haven't finished them. Are all in the lock store. You know, well, let's keep going down. Hey, mate, Inferno Dragons there, look, Chameleons. Yeah, they're not bothered about those. Gutspill Phoenix, Gutfield's Fire, Skyfires, Inferno Dragon. Oh, so there is an Inferno Dragon build token there. You can get 5. Okay, fair enough then. But there's nothing there for Mantis, is there?
There's Manticore build token there, 24-hour, 4 million too.
All right, yeah, got you. So you can have 2 of those, and all the other good ones are in the back in the lock store. So you can knock 2 days off of 1 ship.
Yeah, that was added in last time because the original release that came out last time, I think, had only had the tokens up in the top, and then they were added added in later down to the bottom for a couple of tokens. So.
I mean, to be honest, if you're going to be starting building guts, build, phoenixes and that sort of stuff, it's nice to have them for refits. Like I said, I did fit mine out with stingers on my phoenixes, and they've done very well in that last TLC. They've done exceptionally well, in fact. I did nearly all of it for instant fix, but I wouldn't build a fleet from scratch now. So if you've got to go out and get the blueprint and then go and start building, that'll be a 3-year-old fleet by the time we come to getting this time around next year.
Yep.
And we'll have a proto something or other, won't we? Apollo or something probably by then.
Well, yeah, the next one is the Proto Apollo. They haven't named the Proto Garrison yet, but that is the next one that we're going to be seeing. So
I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say it's going to be a Proto Inferno Dragon.
Proto Dragon.
And then they're going to put a flagship Proto Greta's Inferno Dragon.
Okay, Liam, take us out, mate, on the bug fixes and tuning. This is our last slide.
Bug fixes and tuning. Bug fixes and balance changes.
Yeah.
Rather. Ship stats are now scrollable in the ship construction complete menu.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah. What does that mean? Monoliths should path correctly in upper tier FM targets. So do we use monoliths in upper FM targets?
Yeah, there's still folks using them on the
111s,
the 112s, and the 111s.
Okay. Weapon range, weapon reload, and HP have been added to drone stats in the UI hover menu.
Yeah, so you can actually see now what they've got their reloads and for each of the UAVs and that sort of stuff, because it was never there before. I'm intrigued about I suppose then basically as a ship has finished building, if it's completed, then you can scroll down through what you've just built, maybe. Or I don't know. I don't think that was a really important thing to fix in the game, because I don't think anybody's ever asked for that. I think there's a few more PvP things we need to fix first, personally. There are plenty of things that aren't working properly at the moment, still in PvP. So I'm sure that will be discussed at the next town hall as well. But yeah, so monoliths pathing correctly. Yeah, okay, thank you for that. The top one didn't know it was an issue. Still don't understand what it means, but we'll have a look at it. The bottom one, yeah, that's slightly more important, but it's still only a visual. And it's only drones. And we haven't been that excited about drones in the last, since the Skyfires came out. So,
yeah, is that drones or was that UAVs? I mean, by drones, do they mean the new...
Well, maybe they mean the Haymaker. Yeah, possibly do, actually.
Do they mean the new Haymakers? And then is that kind of...
It will be, yeah. It'll be the Haymakers, won't it?
Are they saying that maybe we might see more there? I don't know. Do we need to see the stats for a reason, or I don't know.
Speaking of Haymaker drones and TAC mods, not that we were, but they need to increase the TAC mod count. Because we've got 3 Ifrits, 3 impact cruisers, 5 MSCs, God knows how many onslaughts, and you're only allowed 5 TAC mods. And it's getting to the point where you have to play musical TAC mods just to get a fleet.
5 onslaughts and a mauler. Don't forget the mauler. So
we need at least 10, if not 15 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were looking at about 18, and I think we had 5.
The limit's 5 total. It's never been increased.
But what was the other one that reduces it extinguishes fire fields and stuff?
The big blue one, you mean?
Yeah, the one that doesn't quite fit on a ship properly.
Or an onslaught for us. Yeah, I know which one you mean. The fire field effect one. It reduces it by. It's got a really short range, but it's quite effective. I've got it on one.
I guess you could count the drones too, so that would give us 12, 13. So I mean, but not only that, like when we seen the whole PvP rebalance swing and whatnot, we've seen the introduction of these TAC mods. That is a great way to like introduce tactical elements to the game, like choices of doing this and doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big feature that they're completely ignoring. That they could use that feature to make the game far more interesting for us, and it seems like it's kind of just been put by the wayside. Do you know what I mean? Like they could have released so many different tactical mods and given us so many choices and elements that we could be having a lot more fun with that element of the game, and they've just kind of tossed it and swept it under the rug. So I don't know why, to be honest. Yeah,
there was no picture there of the Hyper 30, was there? Is that coming out now, or is that coming out later on in the? Because there was a splash screen that came up in the game. Did you notice the Hyper 30 in that, or is that something that's?
Well, isn't the Hyper 30? Isn't that a shard collection one?
Yeah, well, the 20s were, weren't they? No, I mean, I don't remember many people that have actually fitted them. The Hyper 30 stats look quite decent, I have to say. But obviously, yet again, by fitting it, what are you blanking out? Well, you're blanking out other evade type things because obviously it's got evade built into it. But we'll have to have a look at the statistics for it. But the fact that the combat speed is plus 30, I mean, basically all the stats down through the hypers are it's 30%, 30%, and 30%, or if it's the Hyper 20, it's 20% across the board. At 30%, you're starting to talk some pretty decent stuff, even if the splash effect is not perfect for the reduction. But the fact that you're going so much faster. I can see that like on Proto Tide Seekers and those sort of things being quite a decent and getting rid of the PX payload. There are some things that we can use them on, but not necessarily everything. But yeah, I don't know. Venom's after a new mod. He wants a new mod on his ships. He's obviously bored with the ones that he's got already.
Well, his point, he actually did say that like tactical focus is kind of almost irrelevant at this point. And I guess in a sense, like it is, because we're dealing with much higher values and figures now that with or without it, you are pretty much getting passed through anyway. So
yeah, I thought with tactical focus, it's just more of a lag thing now because it looks pretty. But the problem is after you've done a couple of bases, then the lag kicks in because all these things are flashing and moving and that sort of stuff,
Well, I think in terms of hitting ships, it no longer has an effect, but I think it definitely still probably helps when wiping out turrets and outposts and stuff.
The only other thing I don't, somebody did mention on the page, the thing that is just totally separate, but the Haymaker drones, where it states that obviously every drone that's killed, causes damage to your ship. It's not every drone that's launched, which is goddamn annoying, because you don't want to kill anything. You go into a base and you go, oh look, there's nothing wrong with that base. It's already flat. There's no point using it. And then all of a sudden you come out and you go, my ship's damaged. I didn't do anything. Interestingly,
TSM, I had 2 of those drones on 2 MSCs. I had 4 MSCs, right? And then I had the Mauler, and I had 2 MSCs with tactical focus and 2 with Haymaker drones. And I was doing bounty and I was hitting the NPC bases. And pretty much every base I was going into, like normally I would take no damage and I could just grind away for hours and hours. And like after like 30 minutes, the drones had just chipped away. So I'd have basically 2 dead MSC every time. So wow. I had to take it
take them off.
Yeah, I had no choice. So.
Yeah, fortunately they're quite a quick fix out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Go on,
no, sorry. I was just going to say I have to jump off, but I did want to mention 2 points before I do so. The raid calculator from Wayne is out there on the page.
Yes, it is.
Yep, and we will have the thread up there for folks sharing their videos. And again, thank you to everybody that does that. And I'm going to run, but best of luck for everybody in the raid.
Yeah, all the best. Thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.
I'm done, mate. If you are.
And then there were 2.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's on the hour. It's just gone, in fact, and it's also midnight here in the UK. We've had the show on time on the right day. That's nice. So it came out tonight, and everything's good. So
yeah, Kicksai we're on time this week. We like you, Kicksai.
Yeah,
you're on time too. It is absolutely sweltering here in Glasgow. I'm
not having it.
I've been getting cooked. Like on my face is blending with my t-shirt right now. I don't know if you can notice.
And there's no goo because it just run down your face.
There's no goo because it would just get in my eyes, and then my eyes would match the t-shirt.
Stop playing me your hair.
Yeah. We had a big conversation about my hair in the pre-show, guys. Just to let you know, but
because you're growing it, yeah, I know.
I'll save that for a stream.
For someone that cares, right?
And Rue left for 1 minute, and it totally derailed.
As ever, she's a professional one.
Yeah,
right. Okay, should we go?
Yeah, of course. So, guys, thanks everyone for coming out. We had a great showing, great viewing tonight. Appreciate everyone that comes out and watches us week by week. We hope you all have a fantastic raid. I imagine TSM will probably do a bit of streaming through the raid.
Yeah, I will be. So I'm in Alpha World this time. So I am going to go straight in and get a video up of an S set just as a quick test, just to show the targets and that sort of stuff. And then I will do a stream for an hour or something like that. And I'll take Phoenixes into some of the lowers, and I'll take in some Skyfires, and I'll take in random stuff. And obviously, I will show the S sets as well. But I'll do a bit of everything so we can look at all the different targets and all different sort of sets and different fleet types, etc., etc. So we'll get those out of the way. We'll do it in the first hour as soon as it goes live.
Yeah, so we will definitely have some helpful information, tips and tricks and whatnot up. So yeah, I hope everyone has a good raid. I hope everyone gets what they're after. You know, if you're having a hard time, come in and check the page, see what's about. Everyone, you know, post help and advice during the raid. So it's a great bit of information. And we will see you Saturday. We'll see you Saturday for the open mic. And in the meantime, have a good week.
Yeah, take care. Good night.
Good night.